So welcome to tonight's show. You're with Tom, Brown and Steve, and this is NRL from the Sidelines. And as we do it every time this week, we're going to talk about the latest round of NRL that's just been played. And this week, it's week 2 of the semis. Gentlemen, how are we tonight?
Yeah, good.
Yeah?
Tired, but good.
What's wrong?
He's good. His team just got knocked out. He should be miserable.
Because life is not all about 100% football.
Yeah. I don't understand.
Please explain that comment, Steve.
Sorry, it actually hasn't sunk in yet.
See, have you got a wife?
I think so.
I don't during football season.
That answers my question.
There is a lady who comes to my house every day. She cooks, she cleans. I won't go any further.
Arrest my case.
I won't go any further with that.
Oh, dear me.
Oh dear. So, gentlemen, week 2 of the semis has just been played, and there's been some interesting results.
Not really.
You don't think so?
Nah.
They went the way you anticipated?
Yeah.
So you backed South to beat Parramatta?
Yep.
Did you?
That's a no-brainer when you're talking to him.
Yes.
And I also backed the Raiders to beat the Roosters.
Well done, you did too. Okay, so let's have a talk about that. Let's have a talk about the game that was on Thursday night. Friday night.
It was so long ago now.
I know, seems like an age.
Yeah.
Where the Raiders beat the Roosters 22-18. Tom.
Yeah. Tom.
Let's go. Tell us what you thought of the overall performance of the Roosters. Let's start with that.
Well, I think the last 2 weeks, the dominant team have won the game. Rightly so, because the Roosters just haven't been the team that they've been for the last couple of years. And yes, they've only lost by a point against Penrith, which I thought was a really good performance in the end, and 4 points by Canberra. But when you look back at both games, they weren't the dominant team by any means. Even if they won either of those games, you would have said probably the better team lost the game. So, I have to say that, honestly, as a Roosters supporter, I think we're gallant in coming back and try to claw our way back into it. But honestly, I never thought we would win either of those 2 games the way things started.
Well, I want to bring you back to half-time, where the Raiders were leading 16-6.
Yep.
So in the second half, the Roosters won the second half.
Yep.
So, if you think the game went a bit longer, do you think they were coming back, or do you think the Raiders just had their measure the whole game?
Look, if it got another 10 minutes, it could have been interesting. But ultimately, I don't know if that would have been a fair result.
Yeah.
Because I think the Raiders were in their face the whole time. And I think the Raiders were on, and they decided that they had this game, that they were going to win this game either way. And the Roosters, I think, like everybody's been saying, they're out of gas.
Yeah.
Ever since Radley went down, I think they've struggled. Admittedly, they also had a million injuries as well. But when Radley went down, I think that was the key moment in the season, because he's a young player, but he sits in that middle and he directs the defence and he directs the attack, and freed up Kyle Flanagan, for instance. So I think, and the other thing too is we lost Luke Cleary for 15 minutes after Papali scored his try, and I think that put a big hole in our defence and our attack, I think, at the same time. And look, Kyle Flanagan, there's been some terrible things said about Kyle Flanagan this week, and even there's all the rumours about whether the Roosters are going to offload them. Now that could simply be rumour, but I would be disgusted if I heard that the Roosters were thinking of doing that.
I was actually going to bring that up later, but let's talk about it now.
He had a really good season. Just at the back end, he showed his inexperience, And when Cleary went off, he wasn't the man to lead the team around, because he's a young guy who's played 20 games,
So before we started the show, Brian and I were talking about it, and we're saying, it looks like if Flanagan is going to be the scapegoat. But they still have Cleary, they still have Tedesco, they still have the Morrises, they still have
Joey
Cordner, Jerry Manu.
Yeah.
So really, is it fair to take this
Kyle
kid
Flanagan the scapegoat
and say,
absolutely,
you're the reason we didn't make it?
What it's about is they ran out of gas at the back end of the season. The hunger perhaps wasn't there quite the way it was the last 2 years. I don't know what it was. I think every team had to do this. Dealing with the injury toll and having to back up week after week and cover for that, I think just took its toll. You know, I mean, we had lots of concussions this year. If you look at the tackle, the attempted tackle, if you want to call it that, on Papali for the first try, Cordner was very tentative.
Well.
Very tentative.
He went with an arm where he should have gone with a shoulder.
Yep.
And didn't want to.
You know, and the try to Tarpany, that was soft as you can find, honestly, and that is not Rooster-like.
No. So
I think they had, I think their heads were in it, but their hearts were perhaps just fatigued. And I mean, So look, good on the Raiders. I thought they played very well. Are they good enough to win the comp? I'm not exactly sure.
We'll talk about that because I think that's an important point because they got a tough game coming up. But Brian, I want to ask you, running down the sideline, one of the Morrises, I can never tell the difference.
Yeah.
Not
Josh.
you.
Not me. I was going to say
it was Josh.
I'd be jogging slowly.
was tackled by Michael Klockstadt.
Yep.
And a little bit high. Do you think it was a penalty? A lot of people are screaming it was a penalty. I don't think so.
No.
But
no.
I mean, he went high.
No, I do.
He seems to take his shoulder and neck.
No, I do, because if an arm slips up above the shoulder, it's a penalty. And
it was an ugly look.
And there's been multiple instances this season and last where players have, the initial contact's been on the ball, on the chest, the arm's gone up.
Or the player's been down around your knees and you hit him in the head.
Yeah, players have been slipping and the arms come over and the initial contact's still on the shoulder but hits him in the head. Yeah. And it's always a penalty and unfortunately, usually on report.
Yeah. Look, that could have given us a chance to, I think, even up the score or something like that around about that time. But I still hold to the fact that if we'd won that game, I think we would have had less chance of beating Melbourne next week than the Raiders, to be really honest with you. To be really honest. The other thing I posted on our Facebook site, to have a look at that. Somebody showed some vision on TV. They took a shot from TV. We were penalised 6 again, and then they showed the footage. Hudson Young is about to get to play the ball. He grabs James Tedesco's leg and pulls it, and then he gets up and gets 6 again. I don't remember where it was in the game, but it was quite blatant. It says, we got 6 again, we lost 6 again for this. Yeah. And Hudson Young clearly, as he's going down to get up, he's grabbed Tedesco's leg and pulled it up.
Can I just say, all those fans out there that follow our Facebook page, don't bother watching it because it was from the Roosters site, we can't see it anyway.
I posted it to the NRL site.
No.
I say didn't posted it?
Doesn't work
Did
that
you
way.
delete it?
It doesn't work
No, we would never do that, Tom.
And we couldn't couldn't see it because it came up as from the Roosters site.
Is that right?
Yep. I know. You laughed at me the other week when I did it for Manly. It's very easy to do.
That's our technique.
Now let's forget about the Roosters because they're gone. What about the Raiders? Steve? What about the Raiders this year?
I was actually thinking today, if South would have beat Penrith, who would I prefer to play?
Melbourne? No, don't worry about that.
But I'm coming back. The Raiders this year, to me, have been hot and cold. They've been in and out of games, similar to what South have been. They've been in and out of games.
Yep.
But I can tell you, when Jack Wighton is on, they are 100%. And Papali. Yeah. I mean, those two players, if you can stop those two, you'll stop the Raiders.
Yep, sure.
Interesting.
Yeah, look, I think they're not playing complete 80-minute performances.
No.
And I think that's what Melbourne and Penrith are doing at the moment.
I don't even think Melbourne are doing it, to be honest with you. I think Penrith are the only ones who are doing it.
See, I think the Raiders this year are much more resilient. If the Roosters had started to come last year, if a team had started to come back on them, as the Roosters did, they would have capitulated. They would have found a way to lose the game.
Yeah.
But they looked slicker in attack last year, and so they got to better leads. But when things started to go wrong, the wheels fell off. I think this year they're a little bit more resilient. And I think that resilience is going to show particularly at this end of the season when if teams the good teams will come again, and I think the Raiders are resilient.
I mentioned Hudson Young, but I tell you what, he had a barnstorm of a season this year. He's really proven Ricky's faith in him.
Next, I've got another question for you, unbiased gentlemen, who neither of them are Raiders fans.
Yes.
Jack Wighton. Is he a 5'8" or is he a centre?
He's a 5'8". And I think it'd be wrong to put him in centres in State of Origin. And yeah, I think it'd be wrong.
Well, it'd be wrong to leave him out of State of Origin.
I'm just saying. I actually think
he's trying to pick a fight.
I'm thinking he's a running centre, but
no,
I don't think he's a 5'8". I don't think he's got enough ball skills to be a 5'8". But
he's a running 5'8" though.
Yeah.
George Williams is the
George Williams is a running halfback. I mean, who's organising that team?
Well,
that's why they look like they're fading in and out of games, because they've got no game control.
No, I think no.
And I think both of those players are both ball runners, and I think that Wighton would be a much more dangerous centre.
No, but you don't get him in the game as centre.
Well, it depends on who your halfback is.
But another ball player around there. I mean, it'd be like a Wade Graham on the edge, I think.
He's unstoppable in the centres.
Oh yeah, once he's made his mind up 20 out that he's going to score.
Yeah.
It's hard to stop.
Yeah,
it's very hard.
And I think that is a much better trait that you want from your centre than you do from your 5'8". I think your 5'8" should have more game awareness, and I think that's Jack Wighton isn't at that stage yet. But in saying that, I think he will be a great 5'8".
What do we think of Williams, the halfback?
Oh, I like him.
Yeah, he's a good season. Yeah.
I like him. He's a tenacious little fella,
and he does his job. He doesn't seek to shine. You know, he sits there, but he reminds me a bit of a Blake Green type of character. I think he's probably got more talent than Blake Green, but he reminds me of that little sort of person who doesn't shine. He just sits there and does his job, makes other people shine. You know.
Yeah.
I think that's good.
Yeah, no, I do like him. Yes. There's a lot to like about the Raiders this year.
Yeah.
I mean, and Ricky Stewart, you know, a bit of a masterstroke because Tom Starling's been starting, and you know he put Starling back to the bench, started Havali, and started Papali, who's been starting on the bench, and it just paid dividends. He had the right game plan for the Roosters.
Papali had a monster again, honestly.
So yeah.
Okay, so how do we rate the Roosters season? Pass, fail,
pass.
average?
Yeah.
Top 14, bundled out, you know.
Yeah, but bundled out in straight sets. Smashed by 60 against South.
Yep.
And they were travelling all right until then. And I don't think anybody saw that coming, obviously. And I think maybe that's what gassed them. Maybe just that game may have been just the last gasp for them. In
saying that, you say that, but you have a chat to our regular listener, Janelle, about Parramatta and their chances and where they finished. And because of the lack of success that Parramatta have had over the last 34 years...
Don't rub it in.
That was a successful season for them. If it was any club other than Melbourne or Melbourne or the Roosters, you'd be going... I'd be pretty happy with a top 4 finish, even if I went out in straight sets.
You win 2 premierships in a row, and the next.
But that's why I'm asking.
So
to me, it's still a successful year.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is why
we won a lot of games, and I enjoyed watching those games.
This is why I'm questioning why the Roosters are kicking themselves so much, because they've won the last 2. They made the top 4 this season. Yes, they got bummed out in straight sets, but come on, it's a little bit arrogant to say, the world's falling apart.
Of course, it's arrogant. It's the Roosters. All right. Anyway, enough about that.
But look, the fans. There's very few fans bagging the performances, and most of the fans on the Rooster sides are saying, "Look, we had a great season. We've had a great run. It isn't going to be over. You know, we start back next year. We get Radley back. We get Vestals back.
You can't win them all.
Beryl's back. Yeah, it'll be good. So yeah, I'm disappointed, but I'm not gutted.
No.
You know.
So let's go on to South Sydney and Parramatta Eels, where South Sydney run out winners 38. I've lost my score now. 38 points to 24. This was an interesting game. 8-0 in about 10-15 minutes.
Let's go back before that. I mean, before the game even started. I mean,
Michael Jennings.
Can I just say, I thought I picked the Roosters, and then Sevo was out. Ferguson's out.
You mean?
Yep. I picked the Rabbitohs. Sorry, I'm all mixed up in my head tonight.
Yeah.
So I picked the Rabbitohs, and then Sevo's out, Ferguson's out, the Michael Jennings A sample's positive, and he's out.
Yep.
And I'm thinking, they got nothing. This could be 50-0.
Yeah.
So I was very confident with the picking the Bunnies to win that game.
So was I.
Then what happened, Steve?
Well,
then the game started.
The Gutherson show. It was the Gutherson show.
He scored, he either scored or initiated a try in 3 tries in about 6 minutes.
He scored 23rd minute and 28th minute, and he gave George Jennings a try in 25th minute.
That's right.
Gutherson, he's such an inspirational player, and he's so important to that team. And unfortunately, the halves just weren't doing the job.
But he was in the right place at the right time. I mean, it was the Papali off. Papali, no, it was the.
No, it wasn't Papali.
The Junior Paulo offload.
Yep.
That gave him that pass. He had to be in the
Set
right
it up.
spot at the right
That's
time.
right. Yep.
But it was that offload.
Yep.
Well,
look at Damien Cook to Liam
No,
Knowles, exactly the same play.
I thought it was brilliant. I really did.
Yeah.
And in that 6 minutes, he absolutely tore South apart.
Mm.
So South lead 8-0. Then within the space of 6 minutes, South are down 18-8. And I'm praying that before half time we actually score something.
But remember what I said? I said, Parramatta, you better put all these points in the bank and bank them, because the Rabbitohs will be coming back.
And that's the one impressive thing about South this year. They don't seem to care about the fact they're behind.
Well, they don't care about losing points because they know they have lots of points in them. That's the difference.
Well,
but that can work against some teams and maybe not others.
See, that's
and that could come back to bite you.
That's right.
That's where the Tigers keep falling down. Don't worry, you score 20, we'll score 22.
Yeah, but they.
So that's what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
So it came to the critical point where, and I said to you, and I still believe it, that I thought that Damien Cook should definitely have been sin binned. Junior Paulo's getting up to play the ball. He pushes him over a metre out from the line, which robbed them of an opportunity of a fast
explain
roll.
what happened.
It doesn't matter.
No,
You're wrong. Everybody but you.
There was a blade
Everybody
of grass,
but you agrees.
Blade of grass that he tripped over and fell forward. It was and the ref said it was an accident. I have no doubt it was an accident.
So what happens is Rabbitohs are riding their luck this season, okay, and their luck has been incredible, and so they missed out on a sin bin. And then what's he?
Can I just say?
Misses the field goal.
Can I just say?
And they are the best counter-attacking team in the competition, the Rabbitohs, and they just jump on their luck, and it was gone from there. Yes.
Now, can I just say with that Damien Cook thing? Watching that, I was actually in the same mindset as Damien Cook. I thought Junior Paulo was getting up to continue to run.
So did I, actually.
I mean, the fact that he pushed him over, I'm thinking it should have been a penalty. But if
so you don't think it should have been a sin bin?
No, it should have been. But in saying that, if it was me standing there and he was going to continue to run, I would have shoved him and tackled him as well.
If that happened to any one of us, if it happened to South and it was the Roosters who did it, I'd be screaming as well. I get it.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure it's.
That could have mean 2 tries while he was off the field.
It could have.
So they could have equalled the score at 20.
But hang on.
Psychologically, that does a lot to you.
But hang on, he still would have taken a shot for the goal. He still would have hit the post. South still would have got the ball back because it wasn't Cook who got the back.
So what I'm saying is,
hang on,
you're riding your luck, and you had a lot of it.
Wasn't it Cook? Cook had something to do with that.
Yeah, Cook gave the final
right.
tap, which is a really bad kick anyway. But keep in mind, it wasn't he who scored. It was because Gutherson lost the ball.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh look, I'm not arguing.
And that's why I walked out of your place.
Yeah, I know.
So I was absolutely filthy.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
Oh, jeez.
I know, he left early, didn't he? He had a sook and
I was
walked out.
so frustrated with Parramatta because I clearly didn't want the Rabbitohs to win.
Clearly.
And I was so frustrated with Parramatta. I said, "Oh, you're kidding me." And now I knew what was going to happen after that. Rabbitohs is just going to get a roll on, and I couldn't sit there and watch. So there you go, honesty time.
Wow.
Couldn't take it.
This is a man who says we should never take football too seriously.
Yeah, I know. Don't worry. How serious was I was actually at a mate's place for dinner.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there with my phone the whole time. Yeah. It's all good.
Was it a football fan?
No, my wife was so angry.
Did I tell you I did that at a wedding last year? I was watching a South game and the mother of the
Oh no!
groom came out to, what are you doing?
Can you believe they're still married? Honestly,
there were two or three of us who were South supporters sitting there watching. It was a game against St George. It wasn't good, but anyway.
So, Jackson Paulo. He seems to have come of age over the last 3 or 4 games.
He's been playing well.
Yeah, I mentioned that to you when before he took the intercept. I thought he was playing pretty good. Actually, no, it was Wayne Bennett. They said, "What did you think of Jackson Paulo?" And he goes, "Well, not much until tonight."
He's a grumpy bugger.
Oh, he is.
So
his theory was interesting, though. I thought his theory was interesting. Again, Wayne Bennett's the master of spin and spinning anything that makes him look good or his team look good. And he said his theory was they went to the COVID break. He didn't bash his players. Other teams did, and that's why they've got energy at the end. It could be true.
Look, there's a lot to be said there. Because if you remember last year, by this time of the year, we were gassed. We went into the qualifying final against Roosters.
That's the first game.
First one, second one. I can't remember.
First game of the finals because we played you twice.
Yes, and we just ran out. We just had
no. We just played a lot better. Let's face it.
When we went, we had nothing. So yeah, look, I'm impressed with the way they're playing at the moment. I worry about their defence. Yeah. Against Penrith this week, I worry about it. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Absolutely.
So Parramatta are gone.
Yep.
Pass or fail for Parramatta. Keeping in mind we gave Roosters a pass and they'd won the two. Parramatta are building something.
I think they underachieved. They didn't reach their potential this year. I think they played very well in patches. They didn't reach their potential.
It's interesting because I know they finished. They're out at the same point, and I was just thinking then I'd probably give the Roosters a B because by their standards it was they didn't get to the big dance, and so therefore. However, Parramatta, I'm thinking probably an A because they exceeded. Mind you, they had everything went their way early. The COVID break, all the games at Bank West, everything going their way, no injuries. Gee, it's hard, isn't it? I think you still got to give them a pass.
Oh yeah, I mean, look, they played very, very well for a long part of the season, but I think that they were tipped to be the premiers early on in the season, and I think they underachieved because. They fell in a hole.
Yeah, mind you, they're the only team to beat Penrith this year.
And I did want to bring up too, while we were talking about those 6 minutes where Parramatta scored 3 tries, the tackle count was 53-3.
Right. Yeah, I do remember hearing that. Yeah.
I mean, that's
I didn't realise that. Yeah.
So Parramatta were on fire during that time. So Parramatta's problem this year, and we've noticed it against the Tigers, we've noticed it against their last few games, particularly sustaining it, just being able to put on a performance like that. Throughout the whole game, come in and out, but don't just do it for 6 minutes.
Again, that again comes back to your halves and how they control a game. And
Mitchell Moses is copying a lot in the papers.
Well, and I'll say it again, Mitchell Moses, that he is not in the top echelon of halfbacks. I don't think he's any better or worse than Cole Flanagan.
Oh, I think that's harsh, Paul. At his best, he's a very good halfback. I don't think he's in the top 10. Top 7, but he's a very good halfback at his best. But you haven't seen his best for half the season.
Well, that's right.
After he got an ankle injury, I think, and he came back from that, and I don't think he was the same player.
Yep.
Don't know. Yeah.
So I don't like him.
No. I know, but you don't like Parramatta, so.
Excuse me, I'm a huge Michael Jennings fan up until this week.
Okay.
So
there you go.
So where do we think Jennings is going to end up?
Well, you got to give him the benefit of the doubt and let his B sample come through. But somebody said 99.9% of the time the B sample equals the A sample. So
absolutely, even more than that.
And look, even last night on 360, somebody said that drug 2 years ago was not banned. And then it went on the banned list. So whether he's just stupid and naive and doesn't know or whatever, I don't know. But it's not something I would have expected from Michael Jennings. But the only argument I can think of is he's getting old and he's looking for an edge.
And there was a shoulder injury, and he was coming back.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on now. So we're down to 4 teams.
Yeah.
First game on Friday night is Storm against the Raiders.
At Suncorp. Oh, and that's the other thing is I bleated about the idea that Storm were playing at Suncorp and the Panthers are not playing at Penrith Stadium, and then people corrected me that in fact the Panthers chose to go to ANZ, which happens to be the Rabbitohs' home ground.
Well, they chose there because they believe they're going to win, and they want the experience.
More people, and they get more people.
But they want the big ground experience.
Yes. Let's go Storm Raiders.
Yep. Will Munster play?
Yes.
You know what I think is interesting?
How
They're
well
playing
will
at
you play?
Suncorp, and Raiders fans can't get in.
Why is that?
Hang on, no, Raiders fans.
Oh, because they can't go.
Because they can't get across the border.
No, Canberra you can.
Canberra.
If you're from Canberra, you can.
Yes,
you
that's
can
right.
enter Queensland.
They're not.
Yes, but probably a lot of the Raiders fans are not actually in Canberra.
Well,
they're in surrounding areas, but not in Canberra.
Well, they better hurry up and get to Canberra.
Yeah.
So anyway,
look,
what do we think?
Look, I think the Raiders are the team that can beat the Storm, but the Storm have just had a week off. They've been able to relax, and I think that week off is just.
They'll be relaxed on the Sunshine Coast for the whole season, don't
Yeah, but a week off where you're not like that Roosters Raiders game was physical.
Yeah.
Those players, particularly good old Chance Nickel Clockstad out the back, and the second rowers, the Canberra second rowers were exhausted. Mm. They worked themselves to a standstill.
Yeah.
And now we've got a short turnaround, bang, they're back on.
Yeah.
The Storm just sat back and watched it happen.
And that was my fear with if the Roosters won the same thing. I think it's going to be tough to overcome. And then if you win against the Storm, then you've got to play again in the grand final against probably a fresh, well, you won't like me saying that, probably a fresh Penrith. Nevertheless, look, I hope the Raiders beat the Storm, honestly.
Munster looks like he's going to be back.
Yep. Will he be 100%? I don't think so.
Oh, geez, even a 70% Munster's not bad.
Yeah. Well, the Raiders targeting, not his knee, but will they target?
Oh, without doubt.
Targeting, to be physical.
Wear him out quickly.
Because, if you tackle his upper body and he goes down on his knee, well, it's not your fault.
That's right.
The Storm are a big game team.
Yes, they are.
It's hard to pick against them.
The other thing.
So, will you be picking against them?
It said I think the Raiders. You know what? I'm going to put it out. I'm going to put it on the line here. The Raiders will win this game. They will be motivated by last year's loss.
Like a manly statement. Yeah.
The Raiders will be motivated by last year's loss.
That's what I'm thinking.
And they will come out hard and firing. And I think that they will put points quickly on the Storm, and then the Storm will set into their pattern and come back. But I think the Raiders are resilient enough to take this game.
Give me a margin.
24-20 Raiders.
So you think a 4-point win to the Raiders?
Yep.
Tom, the question is to you.
Yeah.
Raiders or Storm?
Well, my heart says Raiders. I really like the Raiders to win. I'd like to see a 18-16 win to the Raiders.
Why? Why would you like to see a close game?
Well, I think that it'll be a close game because I think both of them can defend. I don't think they'll give each other much, but I think that the Raiders' sense of destiny of wanting to get back to the grand final will be enough.
Okay.
Now the other thing on the other side is that if Cameron Smith announces his retirement, which appears likely, that could be just enough motivation to say, let's win it for Cam,
You think he's going to retire, really?
I don't know. Well, that seems to be the latest rumour. But who can
I
tell?
think he will. And just so you know,
that really peeves me. The fact that we're still waiting to hear.
I recall the Storm have a really bad record for milestone games. Mm-hmm. So don't. There's not win it for Cam. It's not
a milestone game.
It's more likely lose it for Cam. Because that's what they do. They haven't been able to...
But it isn't strictly a milestone game. Winning the grand final.
Steve, what do you reckon?
I was hoping you were going to ask that question because I've analysed this game because, like I said, I'm not sure who I want to win because then they'll play South in the grand final. So,
well, maybe.
Not maybe. So I'm trying to work out... I believe, if I'm going with head, I believe Storm will win. And I believe it will be a convincing win. It'll be 10 points. which in a game like this will be convincing.
Okay.
I think it'll be 10 points. And I just think the experience and the know-how will get Melbourne across the line without the flair. And I don't think the flair will work against them on this stage.
See, because Manly and the Roosters would be saying, well, we have to beat the best, so we play whoever it is. You know, he's sort of, you know...
No. Just
All right, no problem. So score?
Score?
Score.
Oh, I think it'll be something like 22-12.
Interesting.
I really do. I think as much as I'd probably like to see, my heart would probably say I'd like to see the Raiders win. I think my head is saying it's a Melbourne victory.
Okay.
Which leads us to South playing them on the grand final. But let's talk about the game against South and Penrith.
Yeah, you've got to get over that one first.
Yeah,
and that's no gimme, by the way.
Well, no, I don't expect it will be. Man. So, do we want to talk about this game or move on? Because I don't know.
So head to head, it's the Panthers 17 to the Rabbitohs 15. They kind of played that few games.
Yeah, the Panthers ain't been in since '67.
Yeah, it just seems like not many. Well, for 50 years, it just doesn't sound like many games.
And I don't think we've met in the semi-final. The times that they were flying, we were coming almost last.
Yeah.
Vice versa. So,
and that was a lot.
Oh, that's since '98, Tom. Just so you know.
Yeah, I was going to say that had to be.
All right.
Time than that.
Okay.
So let's talk about.
Let's talk about it
at ANZ.
All right. I am looking through the Panthers team, and I am going. There is no weakness.
No kick out.
Yes.
Oh, I know.
Kurt Capewell's
I know. No kick out. They bring in Kurt Capewell and Jack Hetherington.
Yeah, so if they can't beat you, they're going to beat you up.
They are just fantastic. Their team is just strong and young and fresh. And again, a week off. I don't know. If Souths, I like that, Souths. If Souths are to win, they need to be on their game 100%.
From minute one.
You cannot have Cody Walker and Adam Reynolds fading in and out of games, and your forwards cannot ever take a backward step. And I don't think that can happen.
The forwards won't be taking it back. I'll be having a serious word with them before the game. They will not be taking it back.
Look, you think of Fisher Harris and who's the other? And Isaiah Yeo and who's the other forward?
James Tarmo.
James Tarmo.
South's got Junior Totola. They got Liam Knight.
Yeah.
They've got
Liam Knight.
Got
Mr. Drop the ball.
And then some. They got a Burgess.
Burgess drops the ball again.
So you know what? I'm going in mildly confident.
Okay. Look, I think it'll be a cracker of a game because
okay.
I think there's lots of points in both teams.
Mm.
The difference is, I think Penrith are extremely organised and methodical in the way they play. Rabbitohs are fly by the seat of your pants type of team, and that can bring you undone, or it could mean you just race away.
To what you just said about Melbourne and Canberra,
because they're two different teams.
True.
Yeah, so, but you were saying, but Canberra are a flighty team. Melbourne are methodical, but you're saying Canberra are going to win because they're flighty and.
You can't measure it like that. The thing about the Panthers all year is that they've been extremely structured, extremely methodical, and they've got the strike power across the park. And I've said all season, they have no weaknesses. They've been lucky to have no injuries, which is important in winning a comp.
Yep.
The Rabbitohs have scored lots of points, but they've had to come from behind. They've got a lot of self-belief. They're the best counter-attacking team in the comp. There's no doubt about that.
Yep.
But will they get the opportunity to do that is the question. And if you let them get out to a 20-0 lead or something like that,
you won't be pulling
back. No, I agree. If South let them get out to a lead,
this is just a great game. Look at this. Dylan Edwards, Corey Allen.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Yep.
You've got Crichton up against Dane Gagai. Jerome Luai up against Cody Walker, Cleary against Reynolds, Cook against Coruscant.
Yeah,
you know,
that's the challenge.
That's a great matchup.
You know what I mean? Cam Murray against Isaiah Yeo. It's just the matchup on paper are just fantastic. And I think
their bench is much. I mean, that's what I found most awesome about their team was the bench. You know, you get Moses Leota, You get Lino. I don't know if Lino will be playing. You get Tedavano, who's been fantastic this year.
See, the one thing I think that is going to go against Penrith is that they don't have the experience on the big stage. But let me say, if they perform extremely well against South in that environment, I believe they'll beat anyone in the grand final.
Yeah. I think they've got a few old heads there. I think Isaiah Yeo's an old head. I think Mansell's an old head. And you know what? Cleary, for all his youth, he's an old head.
No, I don't
Seriously,
know.
he is. He does not get flustered.
No.
He is a game manager.
He
That's
does
what you
not
want.
get flustered. You know.
All right.
And that's a key. I think if you can upset him, then I think you're a chance. But don't tell anybody.
Yeah, I'll keep that just between us. So you're going Penrith, I'm
Yep.
going Bunnies.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Now, last week, listeners, we were asked to put together our State of Origin team. However, these two knuckleheads didn't bother, but I did. I have my team.
So why don't you tell us what your team is?
All right.
Yes.
Since you want the big stage.
I do. I've got Teddy at fullback.
Good question. Good call.
I've got Fox and
on one wing.
Yep, and Crichton from the Panthers on the other wing.
Crichton on the wing?
He's a winger. He's not a winger. He's a centre.
Don't care because I've got Wighton and Graham in the centres.
Because we always carry five fullbacks in the team anyway.
Yeah, Campbell Graham in the centres. I have Cody Walker and Cleary in the halves. I have Appy at hooker. However, Damien Cook has just come alive, so I don't know.
Couldn't leave Cook out.
Well, I reckon you could up until the last 2 weeks.
But well, hang on, don't forget, Fittler has also picked McGuinness in the train-on squad as well.
Yep.
So
I've got my props are Junior Paulo and Daniel Safidi.
Yeah, Paulo I agree with.
Yep. I've got Cordner, Frizzell, and Jake Travojevic. That's my starting 13. I've got McKinnon. Yep. I've got McInnes.
Good as a captain. He'll play.
I've got McInnes, Murray, Regan Campbell-Gillard, and Payne Haas on the bench. All the big boys.
I'm surprised you haven't found a position for what's his name from the Penrith Panthers. The second row. No. The other one. Liam Martin.
Lee Martin.
He's my 18th man. I just couldn't fit him in. In saying that, Regal Campbell-Gillard's come out and said, I don't know whether I want to play State of Origin. I don't want to be in the bubble. Liam Martin will slot straight in there.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I know he's captain. I wouldn't pick Cordner. I just don't think...
I think he's a good leader. I think
he's a great leader, but I'm just not sure he's up to it at the moment.
I think there's enough people around him where his leadership is more important than his gameplay.
Yeah, that works until you start being a turnstile and the team watch you do it.
Yeah, we'll see. Look, I would have Cordner because I rate him. I know that he's been a bit off. I thought he was really good in the... Who did you guys play the week before?
Panthers.
The Panthers. I thought he was really good against the Panthers.
See, I wouldn't have picked Cody Walker at 5'8".
Well...
Yeah, I think Cleary deserves
excuse me, as you guys didn't pick your teams, that's the State of Origin team. End of story.
No, we will come back with our own team next week.
Why?
Because that's the last thing.
Yeah, look, it was... I tell you though, it's you sit down and you think about it.
Yep.
I mean, obviously, personally, I would have went Fox and Nofaluma on the wings, but Nofaluma didn't make Freddie's cut.
No, I wouldn't pick Nofaluma.
Oh, I would have, for sure. So, and I think Stephen Crichton is and I couldn't pick between Crichton or Campbell Graham, so I put
two Tupou's in the squad too.
Yeah, I wouldn't have him in any team, any rep team ever.
Well, thanks for telling us your what you really feel about.
Have you had your awards night yet?
Yes.
And who won the best player?
Oh, I can't remember.
They didn't have one.
You can't remember.
They didn't have one.
At Roosters Awards night tonight, it's a live streaming. I'm looking forward to
Are
it.
you going?
So let's get this over and done with so I can watch it.
See what we have to put up with?
No.
Okay, Brian, you got anything intelligent you went in the show with?
No,
because you didn't there.
I've said it all. But Teddy's in doubt though. What happened with his ankle?
Yeah, something happened, and I think that was part of the reason why he let that try in that little dab kick from George Williams. Yeah, I think he was already busted. I think.
Jeez.
Yeah. Anyway,
Oh look, there's a ton of other fullbacks to come.
Yeah, who?
Oh yeah.
Because Tommy's not there.
Well, you could pick Corey Allen.
No, he's
What?
not.
He's a Queenslander. Can we please have a serious
well, that won't
conversation?
Yeah, that's true.
Who would you have as fullback if Teddy's out and Tommy's out?
Teddy's out and Tommy's out.
I'll
Some players you
I'll-
don't think about.
Let
do
me
you?
find
Because-
someone. I'll come up with a name.
Oh, I've got it. One straight to the top of the head. Who tore the Rabbitohs apart last week? Oh, sorry. Yeah, he did tear the
Nobody.
Rabbitohs
Dylan
apart.
Edwards.
No,
Well,
last
Gutherson.
week. Gutherson.
Yeah, Gutherson's a good option.
Yeah.
He's not going to let you down.
No, he's
No.
not. No, he's not.
Anyway, there you go.
All right, Tom. Anything you want in the show with?
Back to back for another couple of weeks.
My goodness.
That's it. Well, when you're back to back, you can say it, okay? All right. You wouldn't let me put my magnificent
I
wall
did.
hanging
I
up.
told you.
Can we
6
end
weeks
it,
ago
please?
we're
I'm
done.
over him.
Yeah, do you want to hold him up?
Jakey, have a good holiday.
Oh, okay.
All right, thank you for watching. This is NRL from the Sidelines with Tom, Brian and Steve, and we will do it all again next week. And
Yep.
by next week, we will know who's in the grand final.
Yes.
Hoorah.
See you then.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
See ya.